So for the past 15 years, mine and my family's lives have revolved around Stanhope-Elmore football. Everything that we do is just based on football, and it runs my life, and then as well as my kids and my wife. And here in the past probably 2 years, I've felt God kind of telling me that there's something else and that I'm putting too much time on football. So naturally, I kind of resisted it because this is everything that I've ever wanted. Stanhope-Elmore is where I graduated. Like I said, I spent 9 years as offensive coordinator here, so when I finally got the head coaching job, this was like the dream job. And I remember telling my wife that there's nowhere to go from here, that I'm at the top of my career. I want to retire being the head football coach at Stanhope-Elmore because this is my alma mater, and this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. Because we were, having pretty good years and, having great kids and having fun. So, naturally, I didn't want to give that up, so I kept fighting it. Well, beginning of this football season, I felt God really got a hold of me. I can remember being in church that Sunday morning and Brother Jim was preaching, and I don't really remember what he was preaching on, but I felt God all over me telling me that it was time for me to leave my job. And then after that, Brother Darrell got up to close in song, and he did his prayer. And in his prayer, he said, "This is for that guy who's sitting in here wanting to know whether if it's time to leave your job or not. This is God telling you it's that time." And when he said that, it was obvious that that's what I needed to do. So I went in the next morning and I resigned. And that was at the very beginning of the season. So I had to finish up the season and keep it secret and not tell anybody, and that was very difficult as well. So it's very scary, and it's almost irresponsible to quit a job and you don't have another job. But I do feel, God telling me that He's got something in store for me. For one thing, for example, is me and my wife got up in the morning one day and we was getting ready for work, and we was talking about whether she was asking me whether if this was the right thing to do, if I was sure that this is what I wanted to do. And I was telling her how we just got to have faith, and we started talking about how hard this is just to have faith in something that is very life-changing and very dramatic. And so we talked about faith. Well, then when we'd go back to school that day, we do a devotion throughout the day, and we text each other on it. We do the same devotion. We text back and forth. And when we got to school, that devotion was on faith, and we just got through talking about it. 30 minutes later, it was in Hebrews. So we text back and forth about, okay, this is God telling us we got to have faith. Well, as soon as I got through with that, I opened up the FCA devotion that I do every morning, and it was also in Hebrews, the same exact verse. So it was very reassuring then that, okay, God is telling us we got to have faith. Well, then that day at practice, the chaplain comes in and he talks about Hebrews chapter 11, having faith as well too. So God telling us over and over again little things like, if you just trust me, that I've got a better plan for you. And so that has been very, very fun to sit back and to learn how to really trust and really to give everything to Him. I talked to my little brother when I was struggling with this. I was sitting out on the football field and I was painting, getting ready for the third game of the season. And he just flat out asked me, he said, "Brian, do you think God cares where you coach at?" And I really had to sit back and had to think about that. God doesn't care where I coach at. God doesn't care that I'm the head football coach at Stanhope-Elmore. All God wants me to do is to be obedient to Him and do what He wants. So, when He said that to me, it really changed everything. My outlook is that, it doesn't matter where I'm at, as long as I'm in God's grace and I'm doing God's work and I'm being where He wants me to be, then I'm gonna be just fine.